Hey, amazing souls. I wanted to share an experience or a group of experiences that happened this week that showed me some really important things that I had been hanging on to, really taught me a couple really good lessons. And so I wanted to share this with you in with the purpose of also outlining a framework of how our emotions can be our teachers. Sometimes we feel really victimized either by the circumstances that happen or the emotions that we feel because of something that happens. And a lot of times those can get stuck. Either we really resent the experience or we just re experience the emotions and we feel like if that thing hadn't have happened, I wouldn't be feeling this way, things like that. And so I wanted to share this with you so that you can recognize some new ways that you can shift out and quickly either bounce back or learn from the experience as the feedback that it's supposed to give to you. A week ago, we were driving home from a trip. We had flown in, got our car, and we're driving back home for several hours. And as I was driving home, it was late at night. The rest of my family was asleep. And so I was just listening to some great audios on the drive and was feeling really good, lots of inspiration, just feeling so supported. Well, when we got home, we earlier in the week, our freezer had gone out, and our niece, who discovered that our freezer was out, she had told us about it, and I said, just save as much of the food as you can into our outside freezer. And so I had come home with this expectation that at least, a good amount of our food had been saved. We had that outside freezer, which had other food in it. And it was all safe and good in that freezer. After we unpacked all our stuff, I just went to go check the freezer and I found out that the outside freezer was also thawed. It just dropped into my stomach and I instantly knew what had happened and that it was on me. A couple weeks ago, I had unplugged the outside freezer because it was already below freezing temperatures. We're in Alaska. It's really cold. It was an early cold this year. And so, because we were already sub freezing, I figured, like, I'll just save some energy, unplug the freezer. The outside temperature will keep it cold. And if it warms up, we're just here. So, I'll plug it right back in if it becomes necessary. I had no anticipation that the weather would warm up above freezing, far above freezing, right at the same time that we were gone on this trip. And of course, that wasn't on my mind. I was not thinking about that at all, especially with this other freezer issue that happened to happen while we were gone. I was not even thinking that the outside freezer was still unplugged. So upon coming home, I noticed a few things. Just moments before, and even hours before, I had felt really uplifted. And just with this very quick change of circumstances and feedback, my whole demeanor changed. I no longer felt that I was worthy of that help and support. I was feeling really ashamed that it was my fault we lost all of the food in the freezer. Like, not even just the food that was lost because of the other fridge going out, but even the food that was saved and was supposed to be preserved outside was all gone now. Like, everything was gone. And that was my fault. And I just lost it. I went into the room. Of course, I was tired too. I'd been driving for several hours. So I know my emotions were a lot more on the surface anyway. But as I started to process these emotions and observe that distinct change so quickly by just learning one thing, it changed how I was showing up in the world. What I realized through this experience is that my emotions and my sadness and these thoughts that were flooding my mind were showing me that I still believed that when it was clearly my fault, that meant I was no longer worthy of support. Later on in the week, I had another mirroring experience where I didn't know that that was hiding underneath, but I kept feeling these emotions coming up stronger and stronger, and so much grief and feeling alone and feeling so much self-judgment. And when I got to the bottom of it, again, that message came through strong that I felt that if I was squarely to blame, that I was no longer worthy of receiving help, that I had to do it myself. I had to correct the situation by myself. And it came so strongly because both of these experiences in 1 week, as I dug to the root of the issue, that's the message that was showing. And as soon as even just feeling it released, I feel more calm and more peaceful. And so our emotions can show us what we're holding on to. And when we get to the root of the issue, or the belief that is causing the upset or the shame, specifically the shame, the belief that is causing the shame, that is when things feel lighter, when we release that belief, because we recognize that it's no longer true, and it was that belief that was causing so much of the upset and how we showed up. Because it wasn't the freezer that was causing the pain. It really wasn't. That was not causing the pain. It was the belief about myself from that experience that was causing the pain. And that was so powerful. When we recognize it's not the circumstance that is causing the pain, it is our beliefs about ourselves or the situation that causes the pain. That's when the pain becomes valuable, because it is an alert that something is not working in your belief system. That's the thing that is causing the pain. And if you can follow that trail long enough to discover what is underneath this emotion, and you really do that by listening to the thoughts that are running through your head, that will give you so many clues as to what belief is causing the pain. So that's the lesson that I wanted to share with you today. That when crazy things happen that seem so out of context, or that just especially just take us by surprise, we can really observe ourselves, observe our reactions and the emotions that are coming up. Like, really pay attention to your thoughts. And they can speak very loudly to where you are, reflecting how you show up to yourself or to a situation. And when we allow it to show us these things, then it can provide a very valuable lesson of how we can shift and show up differently the next time to have a new experience, a different experience, one that is better than the last one. There you go. That's the inspiration for today. Until next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If this particular episode was especially enlightening for you, or if this conversation left you really wanting more, you'll probably love to listen to the extended version, where I included a lot of clips that I originally cut out for the first one. It goes into a lot more detail in my experience, the takeaways, how I got to the end result of figuring this all out about myself, and how I was able to get to a better place. So if you really wished you could understand more about the process, or want more insight how it applies to one of your situations, go check out the link in the description below, and you'll be able to see the extended version of this conversation. All right, catch you later.